Covering multiple breaking stories right now. A military coup is underway in Turkey, a key NATO ally, and the ongoing investigation of the French terror attack that left at least 84 people dead. France 24 correspondent Philip Crowther is with us. Also, our chief national security correspondent Jim Sciutto, our senior law enforcement analyst, the former FBI assistant director Tom Fuentes, and CNN terrorism analyst Paul Cruikshank is joining us from Nice in France as well. First, an update from you, Jim Sciutto. This is a fast-moving story. Apparently, martial law has been declared in Turkey, according to the military.
That's right. The Turkish military announcing on television across Turkey that they have imposed martial law, that this means a curfew for the Turkish people. It's encouraging them to stay indoors, but also in the statement, the Turkish military saying it will uphold all its international agreements, including with NATO. Of course, Turkey is a U.S. NATO ally, as well as with the UN. And then it went into sort of a list of justifications for why it is carrying out this coup. It said to restore democracy, to restore human rights, to fight corruption. And this point in particular interesting, in part in reaction to recent acts of terror, in effect saying that they are doing this to help make the country safe. One more point, if I could just add, we had this truly remarkable moment just in the last several minutes in Turkey, and that is the elected Turkish president, Erdogan, giving his statement via Skype, held up on Skype by a Turkish journalist, and you could see the image there. This was his statement, and in that statement, him claiming to the Turkish people he is still president, and encouraging them, in his words, to go out into the streets to support democracy. That shows that he is a president who couldn't get back to the capital or get to a state broadcaster to make that statement.
Well, it looks like the military has taken over some of the major state TV networks right now. They're making all sorts of statements on the Turkish state television.
That's right. Apparently troops were seen as tanks outside Turkish media headquarters, troops going inside, and then as part of their statement, them saying, in effect, that they are not only in control of the government, but they are in control of the message. But as part of this martial law, they have shut down airports and ports. And remember, Erdogan was on vacation on the coastal area of Turkey. So to get back to Ankara, the capital, or Istanbul, the main city, he would have had to fly. And if those airports are closed, and based on the fact that he's giving a FaceTime statement to the nation, doesn't appear he's able to do that.
And on the state television, Turkish state broadcaster TRT had an announcer come on and say, Peace in the Nation Council is taking over. The political administration that has lost all legitimacy has been forced to withdraw. That from the announcer reading from a prepared statement, also declaring the imposition of martial law with a curfew in effect. Here in Washington, we've just learned that the president's national security team has been meeting, briefing the president on this unfolding situation in Turkey. According to the White House, the president will continue to receive regular updates. And we're also just getting word that a check of Turkish airline flight status has showed all flights out of Istanbul have been canceled or marked indefinitely delayed for tonight. You're getting word that they've severed all links with the internet. Is that right?
That's right. They've shut down social media in Turkey. Although it's interesting, you're still able to see. I've seen some social media postings from inside. It's possible people are using VPNs or other tools to get around government censorship. That is possible. This is a country that has imposed restrictions on social media before, so there's some experience doing that. But again, as part of their curfew of martial law, they are now cutting down, in effect, Turkey's contact with the outside world. You can imagine that meeting inside the National Security Council right now. We just had this attack in Paris, talking about international terrorism, threat from ISIS, other groups. Turkey at the forefront of this fight. They are literally on the front lines in Syria with them. This is an enormous event, not just for Turkey, but certainly for the U.S.
And we know, Tom, that Turkey has been plagued with terrorist incidents, killing a lot of people. There's deep concern right now that U.S. officials have for the overall security situation in Turkey. This is not necessarily something that a NATO ally wants to see, a military coup.
Normally not, Wolf, but in this case, it may benefit us the way it benefited in Egypt to have the coup that happened there. That if the government's moving to be too moderate and not protecting the people to enough of an extent, to have the military come in and say that enough is enough, we're going to regain control in that sense, it may actually benefit us in the long run.
Because there's not only very close military-to-military cooperation between the United States and Turkey, but on the intelligence level, very close relations. You used to run the FBI operation there.
Yeah, we had 2 offices in Turkey, in Ankara, the capital, as well as in Istanbul. Very close relationship with their intelligence and law enforcement authorities there. So I don't see that changing, to be honest.
Paul Cruikshank, you've spent a lot of time over there. You know that situation well. What's your analysis of what's happening in Turkey right now?
Well, Wolf, it's too early to call in the sense of who's going to come out on top at this point. It's very chaotic in terms of the news coming in, but clearly these are very momentous times at the moment right across Turkey, and we'll have to see how it all shakes out.
And the whole ISIS, the war against ISIS, and what happens inside Turkey as far as that war in Iraq and Syria is concerned. I know there's been a lot of criticism of the Turkish government, President Erdogan. The military has a different attitude, right?
Well, it depends which part of the military, Wolf, that you're talking about. But certainly, you know, however events are going to shake out in Turkey, it might have a deep impact on the fight against ISIS. There's certainly been some criticism of Turkish authorities from Western capitals of being blind to this threat for a long time. Perhaps there's been evidence of that changing more recently. But this could obviously have profound impact not only on the war on ISIS, but the entire the position with regard to the Syrian civil war, Assad, and so on. So we're going to just have to wait and see how it all shakes out. But deeply significant moments.
Very significant. The Turkish military declares martial law in Turkey right now. A military coup is underway against the government there. We'll have much more on this breaking story. Also, we're getting new information on that terror attack in Nice. Stay with us. We'll be right back.